crack. Luckily, I don't have to get paid for doing this job, because if I did, I'd be fired. It's Wednesday. Spell Wednesday. W-E-D. It's like the month of February. What's an R doing in February? February. Wednesday. If I was getting paid, I'd be fired. Or I'd get $6 an hour. Because when I do my wiring, I'm anal. I'm using 5/8 sheetrock. You know that, don't you? I don't use any half-inch sheetrock ever, anytime, unless it's free. So I'm setting my boxes, my device boxes at... Boy, it's going to be shy. I like my device boxes to be flush with the sheetrock. And even though the sheetrock is 5/8, which is right there between the hook and my thumb, that's less than 5/8, and the sheetrock always protrudes past the wall. It's never less, it's always more, so that box should be moved out a little bit. And I always split up my receptacles from my lamps. Lamps get power from one breaker, receptacles from another. So if you trip the breaker for one or the other, you still have lights or receptacles. You don't lose both. So my contractor was supposed to show up here Wednesday morning, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30. I guess he's on another job, which is alright, because my couple hours of wiring has turned into, it's after 2 o'clock now, it's turned into a whole day job. Like usual, but I'm thorough and I'm slow, and I'm also not very experienced because I don't do this very often. So, what am I doing? I whip out my tape measure as a pointer, and I'm going to show you how I'm doing this. And if you don't like it, tough noogies, booby. Because I'm the boss. Here is a 14 gauge wire that I use only for lighting. It's going to go into the electric panel, which is going to be here behind the door. And it goes to the smoke detector, powers up the smoke detector. And then it goes to the light lamp device box, which I've screwed with 3 screws to the ceiling. And it hangs down 1.5 inches, which if I had a millimeter scale here, I don't. It hangs down a touch more than my strapping, which I'm going to be putting up here. I'm going to strap the ceiling every 12 inches, so my sheetrock is more firmly attached. And then I'm going to put 5/8 sheetrock up, so that hangs down exactly the same as strapping and sheetrock. So power, junctions at the smoke detector, goes to the lamp, and then I'm going to switch the lamp on this wire right there. Light switch. Then heating, electric, baseboard, cheap electric, and I'm going to super insulate. So I'm going to run a wire down from here through the floor, and there's the wire right there. Got it on my wire reel. That is a fantastic thing. It freaking is top of the line. You slap your wire on top of it, and whee, out it comes. No mess, no fuss. So I'm going to run a wire for the thermostat to break the heater. Right over there. Heater goes underneath the window, always. And I feel the wind whistling through the walls here. There was some blown-in insulation. Pretty good if it's all the way in, but it never is. There's always gaps. Thermostat goes there. I'm a heater, broken by the thermostat. And then I'm going to run a power wire up top, whee, through the hole, up across the top, through the holes I've been drilling, down to the panel box. And I'm probably going to put the kitchen and the bedroom on the same circuit, because you're allowed, let's see, 240 volts, 20 amps, 4800, 85%. You're allowed 4,000. I might even put the 2 kitchen, this, I'll have 750, 1,000. Oh boy, I might even be able to put all the heating in this whole place on one breaker, because I'm super insulating. What is super insulating, you ask? It is. I'm going to insulate the original stud bay, which is right there, with a piece of insulation. And then I built a new wall on the inside. I'm going to put insulation over the top of that so the joints are staggered. That way you don't have any conductivity between the outside and the spider web. Whoop. No contact. A little wormy. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Got him. That way you don't have any conductivity between the outside wall and the inside. Better for sound. Insulation overlaps. A little bit more work, a little bit more insulation, but it beats 2x6 walls, because on a 2x6 wall, the outside is still attached to the inside. In this case, they're not. They're separated by a tiny gap. So I get 2 layers of insulation. I also get a place to run my wires. I don't always have to drill. Sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. Electric boxes, I use double-sized ones. Metal, welded. None of those detachable side plates are a bugger. I got a couple of them. I'm going to use them up. I put 4 screws in the bracket those have. I also put a shim in, and I put 1 screw in the back, so that they're firmly attached to the wall, and they are sticking out from the wall at 5/8 of an inch. Because I like my electric boxes to be flush with my finished sheetrock. There we go. And 4 screws on the bracket and 1 through the back, shimmed so it's square and tight. That's the way you gotta do it. Like my fur growing on my 2x4s. Anyways, they're dry now. Double receptacle, single deep, nothing around the heater. Can't have receptacles over the top of the heater. Everybody does it. Code violation. Receptacle here, receptacle there. And I'm also going to put, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to put a receptacle here for a cell phone. And maybe I'll even build in a little shelf. Wouldn't that be nice? With a receptacle in the little shelf, so you can plug your cell phone by the door if you're so inclined. Lots to do here. Lots to do, lots to do, lots to do. This is cool. A double-sided ladder. Go up this side, or you can go up this side. This is a heavy commercial ladder. It was ordered for someone that didn't pick it up, and my contractor bought them for half price, 80 bucks each. They're usually 150. That's my ladder, and I think his is even stronger. Let me tell you, you can feel it when you go up the top and you're wiggling over the edge. This is 250 pounds, 6 foot, 10 foot reach. Includes user materials, 113 kilo capacity, type 1. And this is a Louisville. I notice they're making ladders in China now. This is a 300 pound. And mine's 250. His is 300. His is a type 1A, which means it probably has a couple more reinforcements. Maybe the steps are deeper. Yep. I've got 1 rivet holding my steps on, and my steps are 1.25 inch and 3/8, and his steps are 1.75 inch, and he has 2 rivets holding on his steps. Makes it more rigid. Reinforcing at the bottom. Mine has plastic reinforcings with 1 rivet. His has 1 rivet. This is a wider base. And this ladder is made in probably Louisville, Kentucky. Manufactured by Fabricado por Louisville Ladder Company in Monterrey, Mexico. Yeah. Monterrey, Mexico. And mine is assembled in USA. Of globally sourced parts. Would you pay more for American-made stuff? Mine has a reinforcement there. His doesn't, but his has 2 rivets. Yep, his has 2 rivets on each step. His bracket, his folding brackets on the inside. Mine is on the outside. Who cares? Sometimes you buy them at a garage sale, real cheap. New, they're expensive. This has got to be a $75 or $100 ladder. It doesn't even have a pail shelf, which is a bugger. Pail shelves are nice. Never put your tools on top like that, because when you move the ladder, they'll hit you on the head or the toe. Always stick them in the hole, which that one doesn't have. So I'm drilling holes, I'm building, I'm putting smoke detectors and wiring, and I need to go have a sub at Subway with too many onions and ran out of memory. Oh yeah, I was talking about jalapenos. So always rinse your jalapenos or your, what do they call those things? Banana peppers or pepperoncinis or your olives. The wind's been howling here all day and the rain just stopped. It was pouring a few minutes ago. Just what we need. Wind-driven rain. Now we're down to an easy drizzle. Well, all I can say about this renovation on this apartment is if you want to come visit, stay the hell out. Well, 10 minutes later, I just ran the wire through the basement, pulled down the insulation they put up in the floor joists, and dumped. Whoa, the wind is howling through those cracks. Dumped all the plaster and lath into the basement, so I ran away from that because, woo, is it dusty. And then I look outside, and what do I see? More sideways rain. I had left the tailgate of my Suburban open. Luckily, I was able to close it. I noticed the rain coming down, the splashing of the rain. Keeping my wood nice and wet. Yep, nice weather. Nice weather. Wind, rain, wind, slush, cold, wind, rain. I really can't stand this weather. Could always move to Tucson, Arizona. They just had a piece on the radio about killer bees from Chile or Brazil that are swarming, and 12 swarm attacks, people die, venom isn't as strong, there's more bees. Helicopter rescues people, and the bees keep on stinging while the helicopter's blowing them around. Where was I? So that wire's run. I can now pull this wire up to the thermostat. So when you don't go through the guide, the wire ends up in a big curl. If you pull it off the outside of the roll, it stays flat, just the way it's wound on the roll. So let that be a lesson. So with my one available hand, let me tell you, being one-handed ain't no fun. Just think of all those people that have served for us in the many fields of combat that lose a limb, or the use of a limb, or two limbs. Oh my God. I just heard a piece on the radio on WBUR from Boston. The show is Here and Now with Robin Young. And she had an interview with the policeman that was involved with the capture of those two nutcases that so terrorized Boston. And he told exactly what happened on that afternoon or evening with the SUV, the Mercedes, the Honda, the bombs, the shots fired, the rounds, the clips, the guns. Oh my, you got to listen to it. WBUR.org. WBUR.org, Here and Now, and the Boston aftermath. Excellent listening to that. So I'm going to snip this right now, and I'll make it a little long. Always better to cut wires a little long, because it's hard to stretch it, and I've done that. I've cut things an inch or two short, and boy do I regret it after. This pair of pliers has got a stripping hole that I made specially, and I'll show you what that is in a second. When you want to strip the insulation off wire, I'll show you how to do it. I'll show you what it looks like. See that hole right there? That's what happens when you hit a hot wire. I hit it twice. So half my cutter is gone. It's also a stripping hole, but I wrecked this pair of lineman's pliers. Luckily they're only $5 or $6 from the Chinese tool store. Wow, so today we're going to do some wiring. Even though we don't know what the heck we're doing, there's no inspection, and I don't have to be certified or licensed, so I'll just go for it and pull my wires. Yowie!